Here comes a song, so listen, dear. Here on YouTube, year after year. Say, hello, YouTube. Hello, species value nature system. My name is Anthony Waugh. This is youtube.com/user/RomulusWaugh. A.K.A. Romulus, a.k.a. Romulus Magnella. Anthony Waugh is my name. Anthony Sylvester Raymond Waugh. I'm an expert on the nature of English grammar. I'm an expert on syntax, which has been obfuscated since semi-ancient times, since before modern nations' religious leaders, such as Jesus Christ and such as Muhammad. And this is in latter semi-ancient times. And what not by accident is recorded how left out were roles with abridged sciences. In other words, once human relations became criminally foreign influenced, there are proofs that it was not originally criminally foreign influenced. So to discern syntax, we're going to discern the identity that is the identity of the 26 sounds of the English language that were revealed with a better than living relationship to themselves as an increasing identity of volume, identity/s. And that is with the slash being where the identity, a little bit more of the identity as a temporary slash. And the slash also is a semi-nature, three bonded. The cell nucleus, cell body, cell wall, they are manifest in demonstration to us. I am not a doctor. This is related to theories, like with syntax. How with the coordination of sciences, abridged, which scientifically what goes with defenses of fact, treatment premises, reaction styles, but as affect natures, as criminal and seditious nature that was tactically, criminally legalized, to be maintained self-cultivated, victim reactions as fact treatment nature, manifest as styles, perpetually increasingly reliant upon defenses of that are not by accident requiring criminally foreign influence premises treatment, sequence treatments, finite order of the finite treatments, active order of what is active treatments, progressive order of what is progressive treatments. So this is, since my name is Anthony Waugh, since before the World Trade Center attack, I've been prevented with, like others, means to counter what others ask me for help with, intercities, related to the same interbranch from my town through time, attaching little kids and their family members to fake locations. These are same people, intercities, intercampuses, interprivate database relationships simultaneously, overt criminal enterprises, private, originally still victim predators, and bonding that. Now, they also have recorded, confessed, demonstrated uses of sequence shifts. I mean, that, but also conspiracy theories. They pretend other people complain about things they actually have to complain about, and they say them wrong. Completely faked conversations, not misunderstood, totally fabricated. Those same people were doing it through time, attaching little kids to doctors. Then they cover up their live regressions, because people talk and stuff like that. So they steal your identity. They have WFSB, pretend me to fake doctor relationships when I was a kid. They have people involved with predicate acts on and off colleges and universities like Central Connecticut State University, Trinity College. They have crime methods, forging names, switching names, misspelling names, pretending in passions and emotions like saying the guy's Darth Vader. Because they're doing this as intercities connected. Their roles, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin. He had co-defendants involved with the schools I went to, and with the people involved with this. The federal criminals, ones that were associated with him in a 2006 case, and leading up to that, and leading as ones associated with that part of a case / that was ongoing at the time of the plaintiff's death. That he's also further recorded that the people involved with that were involved with into this, leading up to Connecticut, Hartford courts, and the Britain Superior Court. I wasn't involved with the court formally or anything like that. People outside of court made confessions to me about the court's roles and with military families' roles. Dean's roles, their family members, various schools, on and off the campuses, on and off shared policing relationships. They keep criminally foreign influence here and there because they keep things they have to counter. So I just saw on MSNBC, they took out a police station. So, originally and still is entrenched, a breaching organized crime method that has fake sides. If you're listening, what I'm trying to show you is showing how they keep victim predators, overt criminal enterprises, even the stewards of the Witness Protection Program, involved again, too, leading up to the World Trade Center attack. In the context, further tied to proven post-dated documents had been shown to make what was later proven had been brought into the Ninth Circuit, which is right next to the court, right next to the World Trade Center towers. Shortly before the attack, and then right before the attack, are people associated with post-dating of documents from inside the court that were shown to the panel of judges to make them think they were time-stamped late. But it had been proven afterwards they had been brought to the court and time-stamped on time to the Ninth Circuit Court next to the World Trade Center towers. That proven led to a 2006 case now in Connecticut. That was in Manhattan, in the court right next to the World Trade Center, right before they were taken out. That led to the 2006 case with the defendant, former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin. He had a co-defendant in that case. One of them was named John LeConte. He had a daughter involved with a whole bunch of other people, with kids in my school, with investigators and vetting identities, and a whole bunch of other nations, overt criminal enterprises, plural, and private ones, and just overtly sick people. Also associated with body dumping spots, one of a serial killer, and one of a Billy Grasso, and where his body dumping spot was, associated with people on and off the state judicial branch offices with a Faenza family. That I don't know. They made all these confessions at once. The only time I met him. Then one time they tried to make I had no response verbally in a club associated in downtown Hartford, around the corner from Fox Connecticut News. Also involved with people with on and off WFSB through time, with predicate acts roles, and uses of investigators, and vetting identities, using of identity. Again, this is about what syntax is about. So to discern, this isn't about 26 invisible but still discernible identities of volume as value as nature slash nature as value, as the sounds of the English language. And as this, the protraction of logic with no criminal foreign influences, and with them not self-valued. See now, what is alpha and what is mother? See how mother is at the 13th the letter, and 13 plus 13 is 26. And when zenith is Z, Z stands for zenith, M stands for mother. And now what next to mother is neutral. And what's next to that? Between omega. See, alpha and omega are physical, male, female. And identity as semi-nature relationship to the one. That is its identity of relationship to itself, and the value of that increasing is why and how we are individual grouped and species identity of volume. It's where its body, its the scientific value / value progression of the body of forever. If just that, or with a name, individually grouped and together. We don't have to agree. And their exception nature, we'll examine this. See, but we have theory offensively. And that had been maintained, propagated because they're juxtaposed nature of organized crime, associated with the predicate acts delivery system, that method that American history is about. I am not a lawyer. The bar itself. Fact, cheaping nature, styles. Boxing. We're going to learn about boxing. Where the martial arts taught correctly, it's about defense. It's about avoiding the fight. So, but that's why Ulysses S. Grant said, paraphrasing, there is no time that there is need for war. The other reasons are causing that. Other frustrations. He didn't say, I don't know if he said that, frustrations, but I've been said, in other words. And for example, we're going to have to examine what both simultaneously, this simultaneous nature. So we could do homework too with anyone who's been listening about the Newark game. They have to follow mandated law. That's evidence. They don't follow mandated law. There are only 3 branches of government. And they have a whole bunch of locations, natures of courts. They have things they say all the time, because they're all backed into victim of the same overt criminal enterprise. This uses job sites. This used to transition from Organized Crime Control Act to the Racketeering Influence of Corrupt Organization Act. This used the all things of positive and negative, formally, where they're going to be conceived in relationship to opinions that were only allowed to have come through. For example, the sequence shifts. They have sequence shifts and all kinds of fake things put in databases. Nobody's watching. This is in relationship to the evidences of how we have since before cars. Zoning laws things are supposed to be positive for ourselves. They have tactically denatured, suburban pathology. With that slavery, factory nature slavery of everyone that forced everyone to be positive and negative simultaneously in collusion against the Trinity's correlation. It's either fake sides and fake alternatives to that, and styles of that. Or you don't allow free speech. So you're either breaching screen, pretending to be about free speech, but preventing people free speech, which is mandated law. They've been stacking things because this is worse than just a trap inside the court. All investigations, investigators, and vetting identities. The same way the overt criminal enterprises. Desperate people every time. All their solutions. We could supplement things that we all know we need. You know. It takes 2 seconds for someone to code. I'll donate my half to the idea. The robot that you could code, you tell it what's a trunk, and then knows what leaves are. It learns. It can pick the thing. Vaccine. See, they have people that answer questions about everything because they play through a monopoly game, which the Constitution is abridged. For example, evidences are when people make opinions in regarding to such. When they have employed whole identities of industries. America, we look for what is the identity that is only positive and will only stay positive unto itself for where anything is. How could slavery be? Because slavery is going to demonstrate negative value, nature, progressions, acts, and nature. Is going to demonstrate the people who maybe profit from it in temporary positive systems as criminal insidious nature, more and more, as styles pretending other, need to be positive like everyone. See, positive's value/value progression where you walk, each individual. If you are a king, if you are a pharaoh, if you are higher than that, all locations, areas, and states are fact-treatment nature styles and defenses of it that are simultaneously positive and negative treatments. This is science. Take theory after. See, they have theory intersciences. Even in music, why there are 5 chords, why there are 7 notes, why there are 5. In other words, the notes are individual, grouped, and together, as what I'm showing you here. Alpha and omega are grouped together. Yin-yang are grouped together. Yin-yang can never part. Our physics are parted, women and men. Alpha and omega and yin-yang are about exceptions in exception nature. The republic for which we stand was revealed by a quality of sciences that was revealed as sciences by the phenomenon of shared understanding of how to use the identity that makes inventions work or not, and further positive or negative or not. As the identity of evolution that reveals evolution's fruits and gifts and means from nowhere. See, now it would be all right if people had theories legitimately. If what led up to them having theories that are incapable of being defended and of affording free speech. the short words of it and the long words of it simultaneously. So they stack more and more names needed to hide hundreds of nations at once, the same phenomenon that everybody missed and misses, including our leaders, because the identity of the ground locations, let alone ourselves, A through Z. This is where everyone A through Z is victims, specifically to maintain worse than just but shock and awe, and counter shock and awe, and defenses of factory nature styles they can't afford what the next level of conversation where the path, where again, where the short words and the long words are forced to collusion with the interbranch that is recorded clear as day. Hundreds of nations, how they're maintained, used remotely, only capable of needing to hide individually grouped together live progressions to all locations. And having been doing so, relevant to what really causes all these shootings. For example, intersciences that have physical delusions and theories, and then, defense of that, defense of their family members' roles with it, all victims, so that we would stay like that. Then they have they have the right to lie and fake only ever known. And that, again, defended as premises treatments, preventing correlations, words, and discernment, and answer /S. I tell it best, boxings. So this is to overcome needs to counters to offensive impositions and self-valued roles with them only capable of being, only allowed to be, persuaded to be, and worse. There's a whole fake thing with the databases. This is a vertical and horizontal database organized crime method. It is recorded clear as day how they have to hide live progressions. It is recorded clear as day how they're being locked into having to defend uses of what's great about like the service jobs, and what's negative about it in collusion against those service jobs while helping them, as the people help them most everything, because they ignore the perfect world. They propagate, they self-cultivated roles with identities of legal treatments, of logic treatments that are delusions wrought and criminally foreign influenced. Now, so then they need to have debates about things out of sequence so they could value that which what is actually recorded. But you have to be able to report this outside of the interbranch locations, which they attach people to fake being on their location and making communications with a police person and making a police report. And as people rolls with the switching police reports, to switching officers, switching names of the identities of the people, and people that weren't even in location, then pretending people don't speak clear. So there's a Officer Sullivan who recently called here with Wethersfield Police Department town offices and other agencies and AT&T. It's nothing personal against you guys. So I need 3 times people associated with a Brendan Leahy recorded, confessed, and demonstrated and confirmed. Now, now also by pretending they had conversations with me. There are rules also with judges and prosecutors and dozens of Wethersfield police and people associated with them. Houses in my area through time, and dozens of people from Hartford Hospital associated with organized crime, with people on the child sex offender registry, even if made up, because he's also recorded, confessed, demonstrated, put people tied to them in action. What is actually recorded, confessed, demonstrated, confirmed. Their roles with predicate acts these are the branches of government individually grouped together, criminally foreign influenced as victims, but as victim predators. And so they've been using people, investigators, and vetting identities, with everyone being attached to fake words. And they're investing people to where they have the rights, the actual things they need to lie and go along with the shared policing, undercover, how you're going to be natural. You know what I'm saying? But they're fake. So that's why you can know that. You don't even have to be. I'm not a police force, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge. But they're sequence shifting and they're fabricating audio and video, fabricating transcripts. And they're preventing free speech and the surface values of the Constitution because they were backed into logic. That is another nature of criminal insisteness. Identity onto and through its parts. Abridged. So when you see YouTube videos where they have like flying drones, they have helicopters where you could take a picture of the landscape. Or if you have like a real helicopter look how small everything is. See, but to this scale, no one individually grouped it together, even all together. Even if all the modern nations at once agreed, okay, we're going to use the next month to make the whole plans to do the next year, to try to do I forget the words. We have to do simultaneous nature. You have to understand nature. You have to understand identity as nature and its simultaneous relationship to positive and negative. Wikipedia, please add me. Anthony Wall, YouTuber Anthony Wall. Nature is identity's identity of relationship to itself, and humanity individually grouped in together, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously. We are a semi-nature relationship to the identity of value progression. That is at least the body of forever. The body of forever's value. Now these are 5 distinct identities of volume as value as nature / nature as value. Now if I said, you can't, if someone said, someone who doesn't swim can't afford to jump out of a boat, in the middle of the Hudson River or in the ocean. That's not talking about economic uses of the word afford. And so we're going to learn through Little Rap Guy and Friends how to counter simultaneously self-cultivated, propagated reliances upon fact-cheaping nature style, positive negative treatment style, identity of the ground locations that can't defend that and afford the quality of fact-cheaping nature relevant as the proper answer /S to the questions in each science /S. In each science. The sciences are abridged, the Constitution is abridged, we need free speech. Connecticut interbranch, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. They use their roles with juxtaposed natures of organized crime in collusion with the predicate acts delivery system method. This is Washington, D.C. and World Trade Center, tied to the syntax of humanity. So M and O and L is the 12th letter. That longing is shared. That L stands for longing. That longing is shared by mother and by alpha and by omega, distinctly, non-distinctly, and simultaneously. Mother is feminine. Omega is feminine. That's why that's in relationship. One of the reasons why neutrality is between them. This is about the identity of value/value progression. That is the equality of the body of forever. It is only increasing. Its identity of volume, like each identity of volume, each identity of value/value progression has a distinct identity of relationship to itself. It has a non-distinct relationship to itself. It has that simultaneously a little bit further. And how further from that in demonstration of the same thing. 1/3/5 identities of volume/S. See, we are 3 because we are it can only stay 3. And we are simultaneously individually grouped together 3 parts of an invisible but discernible identity of volume. As value as nature/nature as value. 3. The slash counts as an identity of volume. What is physically manifest, such as the cell nucleus, cell body, cell wall. I'm not a doctor. This is syntax where they have theories on biological linguistics. They have each of the sciences abridged. They have all investigators, and vetting identities involved with campus of each age and nature, with a method that kept all that by worse and rolls so to stay worlds with worse, because this is by what is sophistication since before our founding parents were born. The pathology of home since before cars. Specifically designed to cause negative value nature progressions, acts and natures. Specifically designed to divide and to conquer and to have alternatives to that self-valued as the fact treatment nature styles, positive nature identity treatments. That self-value can't simultaneously afford the proper integrity of answer/S to the questions of American history, to questions about law, to questions about civics, to questions about legislation, to questions about predicate value, to questions about predicate acts, to question real causes. There are fake sides. They are recorded also how the prisons. There are people from Wethersfield to Branch in the prisons. No, in the state prison offices, no, right on the edge of, so it's like obfuscated. So one person could say Hartford, one person could say Wethersfield. This is not, remember what I told you, this is an identity of the ground, value/value progression. We're gonna examine how physics was generated by this identity of volume that is self-generating, so it is invisible but still discernible. It is the value of 5 identities of volume simultaneously or not, and where it is not, That is the cause of what his forces are, invisible but still discernible, value/value progression, force form here, length of IDs, force space nature transfer. There are proofs that heaven and hell are ancient terms. So I have to keep this obfuscated because they've been blaming predicate acts on groups wrongly. Where those groups are recorded, how kept, most facilitated and covered up by this using everyone's fake sides of correlation nature, fake alternatives, self-defended as premises treatments, identity treatments, other people's names treatments, not used as people's names treatments. See, but with this word, this is what keeps criminally foreign influence all locations, areas, and states. Science is further, database relations is further, and that's simultaneously. The same way the computers work. This was an identity of the ground, syntax, worse than war crimes method, simple predicate acts, delivery system method, since before Jesus Christ was born. Thank God for the counter, incomplete. He knew he was going to be, thank God for Rasul Allah, which means Muhammad. For counters after that, and around shortly before the Dark Ages ended, to help them, or help do damage control for that. No way that the campuses, the human fact treatment nature was already possessed, criminally foreign influenced by what they knew, by a method that knew that individually grouped and together all the hundreds of nations would have to blame other countries and things like that, groups would have to blame other things, others, and selves for the real cause of negative value nature, progression, action nature. They knew they would have to counter them. They would so simultaneously be made incapable of uses of the fact treatment nature, short words and long words, honestly and properly, because this is about what is going to be really true to the 5 identities of truth. The 1/S identities of truth. It is 1/3/5. We are 3 inside 5 because from inside itself. Same way we have our one identity is the 3 identities of each cell of your body. Cell nucleus, cell body, cell wall. We learned some biology. This is what plant life looks like. Cell body, cell nucleus, cell wall. Cell walls. Now think about this. Cell walls, they're all connected. So with the body, the physical body, is a manifest. This is the one identities. Identity of relationship to itself and the value of that. Increasing, how it is increasing. Not just why it is increasing. And see, but this is prevented. This is the perfect world, and how it makes more of that substance from out of nowhere. Not just for moments. Forever. So you know how the rest of nature has no criminal foreign influences. So if there are any groups, especially, please, let's make every year since before the World Trade Center attack, Connecticut, intercities, interbranch law. And with people, I can show you this recorded, but they want to pull me in the trap where they fabricate audio and video interbranch. Because I caught them when I wasn't arrested for anything or anything like that. I don't have a record, I want to keep it that way. These are people, interbranch, have been making allegations. They have criminal readings of statutes. They have the people who speak for the news involved with this syntax organized crime method. That is misprision. So now this breaching method knew that it would keep line progressions horizontal, vertical and horizontal in relationship to the branches of government manifest the way they are. Trinity. Executive branch, judicial branch, political branch. This is manifest. The ancient republic has been taught wrong tactically so they could have defenses of that. Breaching screen hit while pretending to be other. Everyone. The only way we could use the identity that mentions work or not in relationship to it or self or not, and our further positive or negative itself in relation to itself or not, is to allow free speech. But we have everyone preventing free speech. Often they have to pretend to other offensively. They have to self-value bad things happening all the time. Not by accident. This is a maintained outcome /S. What was propagated was everyone blaming other things other than selves for what everyone was non-distinctly hurt by. But they didn't know how to react to it properly. But they had to react to it. This is tied to how they're forcing everyone to speak through others through time, involved with the child abuse method. Then when someone tries to report this stuff, they attach them to fake communications with their family members about it. These are people with interbranch and all kinds of private at once involved with them. So that's how they say, oh, each person is like, that's the jobs. This is the psychology department. This is the linguistics. This is what they learn. And we'll get sued. This is what syntax is about, what I'm telling you. Z stands for zenith. In the perfect world's identity, forever that is also positive unto itself, increasingly. See how identity, when it's positive, also positive unto itself. It is not separate from negative. More and more of one identity of volume is trying to make more positive here or force it from here. But per its system. So we have people trying to do that now because they're in another system. The real good nature of people, which is there, wouldn't be able to survive. That's propagated to collusion. So we have to allow correlation nature to discern, to demonstrate, to have this conversation about each identity of the ground location, about each identity of job title, how they are positive and negative treatments that are criminally foreign influence, criminal insidious natures of positive treatments, and of styles of defensism, logic that is criminally foreign influenced, and delusions wrought, and rules, crimes, predators. One thing that is with that non-distinctly that's easy to discern, but they want to make it complicated, are the sequence shifts, styles of logic, evidence fabrication, again, delusions wrought. Not by accident, we have originally still the rules of psychology with what they call, we have medical locations creating medical conditions. Then when they have to research, they're sick. We have a lot of fakes, and we have the opinion nature. We have the elections locations, Weathersfield town offices. They just pretend passions and emotions if you try to communicate with people on Facebook. Then they want to pretend. See, if you sustain that, then they want to pretend a civil conversation, but then they want to play games with it. And there's civil conversations about nonsense because they're being led individually, grouped and together. The executive branch individually has crime methods that they have to hide. Per how they're hundreds of nations, same thing at once. They are victims the same way this overt criminal enterprises are. Kept needing to hide the same finite lies with them, sequence shift lies with them, identity theft, frauds, rolls with them. Not by accident, at the same time they have mental diagnosis, that they use fake conversations about things that they're really involved with, like stealing people's work. So we have to counter the interbranch with the private tied to them, especially the doctors, all kinds of physical delusions, logic incompetence, identity through the identity ground from off campuses, but it already was on off campuses further in layers. So forgiveness is relevant to countering this predicate acts delivery system method that already forced out all the lock to rolls. No one had, per the law of the nature of the law, actually, no one has the right to agree other, as it has been. So they're just keeping defensive that can't afford what is true always, while as all exceptions in all exception nature, as that same truth, and not valuing that deny too. That's how logic works. There are 5 distinct identities of sequence/simultaneous nature. And we'll examine. This is, in other words, where humanity came from, where everything was generated, how did it be generated. One identity of value/value progression is value as nature, /nature as value. And that's as identity. So it is the value of identity itself. So each person is in a location. You cannot leave out what is better than it is unfathomable. In other words, it is just base logic denied that can't simultaneously defend what our founding parents were about. On CNN, I was MSNBC, I noted I saw about the story about something people put a place on fire. I think it was a police department. So I'm trying to say. These are fake sides and fake alternatives. And then defenses of that, which was propagated, but that's maintained, self-cultivated. That already had overt criminal enterprises, private ones as victim predators, the same way individuals are victim predators that are preventing the sequence true, the order of the finite, the order was active, progressive, and identity told true. And you can't communicate with interbranch using logic proper, or they're gonna fabricate audio and video, because they have rights to do so, but they use them. They already used them criminally, and a breaching method knew they were going to do that. What is the breaching method? A predicate acts delivery system method using the human fact nature, which is forever nature. So they're using time too fast, too slow to get over on everyone. When they show the hands of justice, because they have to pretend other, because they're already in collusion. In other words, but the Central Connecticut State University and other Trinity College, they were used as victims by people associated with former director of the FBI, Robert Lusky, and with his lawyer, Robert Chevrolet. Right down the street, with a place down associated with a place down the street from the Harriet Beecher Storehouse and from the Mark Twain House together there, the way they were and the way they are conceived there now. And how that is exploited also by the on-off campuses relationships of Central Connecticut State University and the uses of that intercities. Also per their roles with on-off child campuses. Again, and many people with the psychology community. That's why involved with physical delusions and with juxtaposed natures of organized crime and of readings of statutes. Please, lawyer associated with Fox Connecticut News, who was associated with a guy reportedly suspect of whatever. I didn't listen to the story well, but it was associated with Albany Avenue, and I believe Farmington. And see, the West Hartford. These are locations that were being used by Connecticut courts and police forms and military, with a whole bunch of other nations' military police forms. Overt criminal enterprises and private ones, and not just legitimately undercover with them. They maintained that was maintained from off campuses since before anyone was born. Our founding parents didn't have free speech, and they had words forced like everybody else because they were fact-cheating nature enslaved. That now, who tries to pretend other is because they were tactically, formally, in collusion with criminal foreign influences here and there. They tell a fake history of his fake stories, fake summary of history. Because again, were used and are used remotely with their positive and negative treatments. So they have all theater, then they have legitimate doctors and used for organized crime, and then they sell value roles with it, with the networks. But you have to counter the doctor, you have to counter the various natures of courts involved with them, and the police forms, simultaneously, individually and grouped. The way they are being exploited, the way they are being reacting to it, how that it is maintained in collusion by what most furthers the overt criminal enterprises. As we'll examine, it is relevant. There are people with the name Joey Quest, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. With other people, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, involved with houses on all sides of schools in my city of each age and nature, and intercities, involved with identity theft frauds, and a method off campuses further and further, but it's also having been and being on off campuses. They're kept needing to hide this, everyone. Victim predators, originally still forgiveness, is so we could use correlation simultaneously inherent, active, and progressive means. So I want you to see first the grouped Alpha, Mother, and Zenith. I want you to see also how grouped distinctly are mother, neutral, and O, omega, MNO. And that is while that longing is there. Because that longing is value to the equality of the identity of value progression that is at least the identity of the body of forever. Now, what denies this also has to use recorded self-value by our nations, by our locations, areas, and states, too. How they force the leaders to collusion with that as styles distinctly, not distinctly, and simultaneously from themselves, reliant upon. See, this is a fact-chibi nature illness. This is a fact-chibi nature virus, inseparable from. This is a predicate acts delivery system method we have to counter. And so we use the part of boxing. These are parts of everything. And we overcome the need to stay base. Things like war to solve. Would never solves anything, it only keeps. Look down from the aerial footage of things from a distance. Admitting what we have the right means to admit and everyone to agree about. You have to word it right and show what's going to happen simultaneously. What's going to happen if it doesn't happen simultaneously? Even better. You should open up means to bring higher than we need to go. We have to agree. We have to use. We're obligated to agree. We have to use logic, not criminally foreign influence, delusions, rot. You have to free my speech, follow mandated law for Wethersfield police and for Connecticut courts. They can't do it. They need to put me into their place. Further, they want to keep attaching me and others to fake locations, fake natures of ties to other people. They've been doing this with WFSB, Fox Connecticut News, recorded, confessed, demonstrated. They're hiding between that. They're hiding between what they have with the people with the downtown, tied to the people on off the state judicial branch offices, on off the state prison offices through time, the roles with the database, organized crime, and with a whole bunch of ties to this Dillon family. Worse than war crimes. These are people leading up to the World Trade Center and since with a whole bunch of predicate acts roles. See, now, I'm not trying to make positive or negative treatments about them, only in relationship to that. They're making over allegations, pretend people are making over allegations from other people, but preventing writing and stacking roles and more names of people with the original fake and communications that never were a sequence shift. There was a little girl named Debbie Gold who was married to a mayor. One of the mayors, retired and standing, involved with they had her come up to me yelling so she could pretend I was in a conversation with her ever. Like nasty. And I never saw her around. There was like one exception a year or two before that. And it wasn't bad. I had no problem with her. I was never rude to her. You know, I barely had any words with her at all. It was like fake now that I realize that. But that's what they're doing through time. Then they're pretending people are making allegations. Other nations do this with them. They cover up each other's life progressions. They have people on off the Town Line Drive mobile location. They have intermilitary families. There's a scheduled family. I never had a conversation with them. They might have tried. They have people associated with Middletown. They have other people in FBI, CIA, families associated with houses in my area that are involved with